Okay, so today I'm going to be talking to you about a loose, upcoming, what I plan to read. I've recently discontinued TBRs because I have become a mood reader and I'm trying to lean into that. I'm trying to just pay attention to what I feel like reading so that I can love reading. And it's been going great. However, because I now have not, man, I made a lot of changes recently. I don't do wrap-ups anymore because I now do dedicated reviews for every single book I read, which means that you don't always know what I'm reading or what I'm going to be reviewing upcoming, which works fine for me. But I have gotten many comments of people requesting some sort of loose indication of what's coming up so that if there are books that I'm planning on reading soon that other people are excited about, then you can see what I'm planning on reading, pick it up, and then be ready for the review. I'm sure there are plenty of people that don't care one way or another, but there are some people out there that would like to have a video like this, so I'm doing a video like this. This is going to be a video comprised of books that I'm definitely, absolutely picking up really soon, as well as a more loose, these are books that I'm really interested in right now that I will likely be picking up in the next several months. But before we get into the list of books that I'm especially excited to and plan to read soon, a shout out to today's sponsor, Sqaurespace. From websites to online stores to marketing tools to analytics, Sqaurespace is an all-in-one platform that helps you to build your website and grow your business. But we'll talk more about them at the end of the video. So I should start out by saying that I'm not going to be talking about books that made it onto my 5-star predictions video that I put up recently. That's a video talking about books that I plan on reading in the first half of the year that I think I could potentially give 5 stars. I'm very bad at predicting these things. It will probably be a fail again. But for the sake of not being repetitive, I'm not going to mention those books again, but there will be a link to the video in the corner and in the description. Now, books that I'm definitely going to be reading within the next like 2 or 3 months because of buddy reads I have set up. I know I'm reading them, or at least trying them. Well, I'll mention Legendborn because I'm currently reading it. It's possible that I've already finished it by the time you watch this video, and maybe even the review's already up by the time you watch this video, but I am currently reading it. I pre-filmed these videos because there's a lot of editing and background stuff that needs to happen, so I never really know as much as you know by the time you watch the video. I am absolutely about to start Jamaica because of a buddy read that I've set up with some friends and also just because I want to read it. And Assassin's Apprentice, I've already broken my rule. This was in the 5-star predictions video, but it's the only book that I lied about. But I am about to start it, so it feels like it has to be mentioned here. Both of these books I'm going to start as soon as I finish Legendborn, and both of these books I know I'm reading right away because I buddy read set up with friends. Honestly, if you don't already know this about me, any book that I plan to read, I try to set up as a buddy read because I just really like talking about books. It's just more fun that way to me. Books that I know that I'm going to at least attempt in the month of February, we have Dragons of Autumn, Twilight, and Sabriel. These are both buddy reads for the Patreon server for February. This is the first in the Dragonlance series, which is a very long list of books in this series, but it's classic fantasy. A lot of people in the server love this series. I've heard that it's, there's a lot of tropes that are common in fantasy now that were new at this point, so knowing that going in is good. And Sabriel, which I actually don't know anything about. I know it's another fantasy. Dark secrets, deep love, and dangerous magic. Oh, cool! Sent to a boarding school in someplace. As a young child, Sabriel has had little experience with the random power of free magic or the dead who refuse to stay dead in the old kingdom. I just put this on the poll for the buddy read because one of my friends, this is her favorite series, and she really wanted to read it with all of us. So, we are. And now I'm excited about it. Sort of Kaigen, I'm not positive that I'm saying that right just yet, but I will find out by the time I read it. This is the buddy read on the public server. This is also a fantasy, so much fantasy. Again, I don't know a lot about this book. I'm pretty sure it's a self-published book, but it's a book that a lot of booktubers lately have been reading and obsessed with, and several of my friends have read this book recently and then said, I have a book hangover. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with myself. This blew me away so much. And it's people who have really similar taste to me. So I'm really excited that we're going to be reading this one in February as well. Now talking about books that have nothing to do with buddy reads that I know I'm picking up soon. Wait, did I say nothing to do with buddy reads? Nothing to do with organized buddy reads within servers that I have. But here's some more buddy reads. Gardens of the Moon, which I'm really nervous and excited to read. I've already read the first 2 Malazan books, and I started the Malazan series at the same time as I was working through the Wheel of Time series. And I was attempting to read 1 book in each series a month, and it was just too much world building for me. It was a lot. So I decided to put down Malazan, finish out Wheel of Time, and then I reread the Stormlight Archive, and now I'm finally diving into Malazan again. And I'm going to reread the first 2 books because this is a really complex world and there's a lot to keep track of. And I'm concerned that I'm not going to remember enough to be able to make it to the 3rd book. So I'm going to go ahead and reread books 1 and 2. Maybe I'll pick up on more things this time and maybe, hopefully, continue on with the series. I'm also buddy reading this with Leanne from Leanne's library. Daughters of Miri, which I'm buddy reading with Anne. Her channel will also be linked in the description. This is a YA fantasy about 2, okay, I don't really fully, it's Greek mythology, I think, or some sort of mythology. I don't really know much about mythology. Some sort of tragic war has caused the gods of this earth to leave the earth. These 2 sisters are goddesses, raised as humans, thinking they're humans, but now, for some reason, they are going to come back together. And this is like their epic journey of finding each other again. I'm all about family relationships. This sounds like a really unique thing. I haven't read much about mythology, so apparently that's something that I'm trying to read more of. I don't really mean to. I just keep stumbling on this sort of theme that looks really interesting to me. So Anne and I are going to be reading this soon in February, I'm pretty sure. And I think it's going to be great. Starsight! I read Skyward 2 years ago? I read Skyward, I think shortly after it was released, and I loved it. And I really have been meaning to read Skyward since this was released, but I keep putting it off because I know that there are 4 of these and that only 2 are out, and they're not coming out every year because Sanderson has a million projects on his hands. So I keep putting it off because I know it's gonna hurt when I don't have, isn't that ridiculous? I know that I'm gonna have to wait for book 3, so I'm waiting for book 2 so that I can read, so that I don't have to wait so long in between books 2 and 3. It doesn't make sense. Anyway, a couple of my friends are buddy reading this soon, and they asked me if I wanted to read it, and there's really no good reason that I've been putting it off. So the answer is yes. I'm really excited because I'm dying to know what comes next. I enjoyed book 1 so much, and I'm really excited to keep going with this. The Heroes by Joe Abercrombie. I loved Best Served Cold so much. I love this author so much. I'm excited to keep going with his standalones. I will be reading this soon. So Jade War. I'm buddy reading that with Michael. We're going to read it really soon. It's a continuation of Jade City, which I really enjoyed. I'm excited to keep going in the series. I know I want to read more from Michael Crichton within the next several months because I have loved his books and I want to keep going with him. My next book is either going to be Sphere or Pirate Latitudes, whichever one I'm in the mood for, so I just have them both sitting out whenever I get to him next. The Woman in Black, which is just a classic, I think it's like a classic horror, classic suspense. I don't know much about it, actually. Oh, it's a classic ghost story! That's why I bought it. I'm not gonna read anything else about it because a lot of times classics have spoilery descriptions. So it's a classic ghost story, which I love, and I want to read it soon. And then a couple other fantasies that I definitely want to read at some point in the very near future. The Ember Blade, the person that sent this to me said that it's a mix between The Lord of the Rings and The Lies of Locke Lamora, which I have never been able to get off my mind. I've been reading so many epic fantasies lately that I keep putting this off, but I want to read it so bad, so I'm gonna prioritize it. I'm gonna read it really soon. I expect this to be something that I'm going to love so much. And it's really healthy to create massive expectations for something that you know almost nothing about. I'll just read you the little blurb tagline thingy. A land under occupation, a legendary sword, a young man's journey to find his destiny. I just think, I have a feeling I'm really gonna love this. The Legend of Eli Monpress. Monpress. I know nothing about this. I know no one who's read this, but when I was looking up heist stories similar to The Lies of Locke Lamora while I was doing a recommendation video, this is one of the books that came up as a heist story. And I already owned it because a subscriber sent it to me, but it made me really want to read it. That's basically my only motivation. Speaking of bad motivations, when I was doing research for that very same recommendation video, this also came up as a heist story. One of my friends has read this. I asked her if it was a heist story. She said sort of. Good enough for me. It's on my list. So I should preface this by saying that I guess I already said this, and this is the end of the video, so it's not a preface. I am still a mood reader. That hasn't changed. So these are all books that I know that I'm going to make an effort to read soon because I'm so excited about them, but other books are inevitably going to come up that also excite me, and I will inevitably put them in front of some of these books. So other books are going to pop up. This isn't a definitive list. I'll probably DNF one or two of these, but it's just a look into the books that I'm the most excited about at this moment. Oh, I should also mention there's no manga on this list because I already have talked about manga that I'm planning on reading upcoming in other videos. I'm gonna keep reading One Piece as soon as I can find the next volumes. Amazon doesn't have the next volumes that I need, so I'm gonna look on Book Depository and places like that. But I'm gonna continue on with One Piece. I'm gonna read Hunter x Hunter. I'm gonna read Attack on Titan, Fruits Basket. I have a lot of manga that I'm excited about too, but we've already talked about those, so I didn't think I needed to bring them up again, but I just did. Now that we've talked about some books, the ad. There's an embarrassing picture of me online. That's it. It's time for me to go off the grid. So you've decided it's finally time for you to completely go off the grid. You don't want people to be able to find you. You don't want people to see those embarrassing pictures that someone posted about you. Frankly, you're just tired of being online. This is perfectly reasonable, but the best way to do this is by documenting your journey of going off the grid with your new website through Squarespace. Squarespace has a powerful blogging tool, so you can post your photos, videos, and updates on how you're choosing to disconnect and hide in your very own personal blog. Categorize, share, and schedule your posts to make your content work for you. And when you finish going completely off the grid and no one can find you, you can set up appointment scheduling with your Squarespace website. Add online booking and scheduling for your classes or sessions so that you can help other people go off the grid as successfully as you have. Clients can easily see your availability and reschedule if needed. So if you're ready to go off the grid like me, head over to squarespace.com for a free trial, and then when you're ready to launch, use the link in my description for 10% off your first website or domain. Don't go off the grid by yourself. Document it with Squarespace. So these are the books. So these are the books that I plan to read soon-ish. It's a lot of fantasy. I'm on a huge fantasy kick right now, but I will also be putting in plenty of other books from other genres in between. I'd love to continue chatting with you about these books in the comments. I post videos every Tuesday through Friday. I'll see you guys again soon. Bye.